frustrated. My boss told me I wasn't considered for a promotion because I can't get other people on board. He said I wasn't a team player. But my team's doing great, and I always put them first. How do I get my boss to see that? Well, I can't change your boss's perception, but we can break down why he might feel that way, and we can work on ways to change those behaviors, opening up the possibility of promotion. Does that sound good to you? Yeah, I don't want to keep getting turned down for promotions and accused of not caring about my team. I care a lot. I believe you, and I can see that. Let's start by finding common ground with your boss. Is there any truth to his feedback? If I'm honest, a little. I've been struggling with some of the other team leads, but I wouldn't say I'm a problem. Like this one coworker, Bianca, she's always been a major thorn in my side since I started. I wonder if she got the same feedback. How is she a thorn in your side? Well, she never helps me out with my team. If it's not her job, she doesn't do it, and she lets me know that at every opportunity. It sounds like there might be some history here. Can you give me an example of her not helping you out? Yeah, just last week there was this big project. My team was pulling overtime because there was an issue at the warehouse and one of my guys called out sick. You know how it is. But when I called Bianca to see if someone could come in to cover, she got all snarky. We weren't late, no thanks to her, but my boss says I'm the one who's not a team player. Tell me more about this interaction. What do you mean by snarky? Well, she had a retort ready for everything. She said my problem wasn't her emergency. She said she wasn't available, and I told her I didn't need it to be her, just someone from her team. And then she says she's not asking anyone to do something that she's not willing to do. And I mean, personally, I think that's admirable, right, in a dream world, but she should at least throw the question out there. I mean, she still said no, she didn't call anyone, and she didn't even consider volunteers. It sounds like a pretty negative exchange between you two. Can you help me connect the dots between this event and how it impacts your role as a team player? I'm obviously trying to get my team the help they need, and she's saying no. She puts her team first. I wonder if there's some irony to that complaint. Both of you always helping out your own team first? Maybe a little, but I'd be more understanding if she at least worked as hard as I do. How does she not work as hard as you do? Well, her team doesn't stay late as often, and they don't seem to have many last-minute taskers. Is it possible she's working hard even if her team isn't staying late or coming in after hours? I mean, that's possible, but it still makes it hard to work with her. It feels like she isn't as dedicated. I think you've hit something really key there. How does your perception of her as less dedicated impact your ability to work together as a team? Not good, I guess. I should probably look into that. Like, if there's something I could do differently so that my perception of her doesn't get in the way of working with her. Right, because you can't control how dedicated she may or may not be, but you can control how you respond to her. How might you handle a situation like this in the future? If I think about the things I could change, I could let her know in advance. My guy getting sick was, last minute, but I knew we were up against a deadline for weeks. I could have probably told her a lot sooner. What else? Well, what do I need to change? My boss didn't say much else. What about Bianca? Before she hung up, you mean? Well, she told me that I needed to stop ordering her around. I was a little heated at the time and kind of, PO'd, but I do kind of see your point. I was telling her what to do. What would a conversation with her look like? Any particular outcome? Well, I would want it to be smooth, and I don't want her to hang up on me again. I'd want her help. So how can you influence her to help with your words and actions? It's going to be tough because I think I need to apologize, especially for the late notice. And yeah, I need to ask nicer. Like, I don't know, like compliment her. Do you think that's out of line, giving her a compliment? Not necessarily. What did you have in mind? Well, I was just thinking about like what I'd like to hear that would make me want to help. And what I'd want to hear from her, in that same situation is, hey, your team is really great. Can we borrow one of your star team members? Well, it's just funny. What I actually said was, and I know this in hindsight, was bad, but I said, Dan's never busy. Tell him to do it. And I just can't believe I talked about her team like that to her and then still expected her to help. And then I got mad when she didn't agree. Like, it's just hindsight's 2020. We can give ourselves a little grace. It was late and you were stressed and you didn't realize how it came across. But now that we know, we can work on improving how we ask for favors from another team. Now that the smoke is cleared, what might you say differently? I think I'd say, hey Bianca, I'm sorry to bother you so late at night, but we've got a short suspense and we're understaffed. I could use some help with the back end development, and I know Dan's been helpful in the past. Do you think he'd be willing to mentor a couple of my guys to help them out? I guess that's more of a long-term request, though, not a late-night call. Does that work? Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't have to be in an emergency to ask for help. After all, the purpose of this conversation was to help with a long-term goal, too. And that goal was to take actions to indicate that we're a team player. Have we identified any actions we can take to help be perceived that way? I'm realizing if I want to be seen as a team player, I have to act like a team player. I feel really foolish now. I've been blaming all the wrong people, but I haven't looked at how I've been interacting with them. There's no reason to feel foolish, but now that we're out of our blind spot, what will you do to be more of a team player? Well, I owe a few people I've steamrolled apologies. I think I need to check in with my team too to see how they feel. They might have some good feedback for me. And Bianca's been with the company for years. I bet she's got some really good tricks up her sleeves that are helping her avoid the late nights and weekends that I seem to be doing a lot. That sounds like a great start. Would you consider this a successful conversation into helping you be seen as a team player and maybe eventually get that promotion? Absolutely, yes, thank you.